In Force to Heaven by VUCA Simulations, Scenario 6 playthrough. In this playthrough, we will focus on the pure gameplay without explaining any rules in detail. For this purpose, I will record a series of tutorial videos. This is campaign scenario in which we play the northern part of the campaign, just first 7 days, which is marked on the calendar track. So we end this scenario on September 7th. We have a division line, which is the hard map limit for this scenario. And let's first see what are the victory conditions for this scenario. Those are placed in the notes in the module. And we have two sets of victory conditions. First is the set from the campaign victory conditions list, which of course apply if they happen to be achieved in the course of this part of the campaign, but they are not all listed in the scenario description, only those that really apply into the time period of the scenario. So first, the Polish player wins immediately if he achieves to close the German army in a pocket. Well, in the first week it is almost impossible, but it is kind of a safe valve for the German player to not do really stupid things, like in comparison in Normandy games, just leaving Cherbourg to just take it by allies in the first days. For the German player to win instantly, first, there's condition A to cut off SG relocation road. This means that in Warsaw there is a general staff, and if Warsaw is being approached by German units, the staff will escape to Brześć, but will need to use roads or railroads. If the German advance is so swift that the staff cannot use any road or railroad, this is instant German victory. The second one is a victory condition C, and it regards morale. When the Polish morale is at 0 in the victory check phase, it is a German victory, and also in the step 3G of the HQ command phase, when the marker is on 0 or -1 and it is on the panic side. More of this later. Back to 8. Additionally, for this scenario, which also serves as a save valve, because of course regarding that the scenario is short, the Polish and the German player might not behave as in the full campaign scenario, the save valve regards defense of Bydgoszcz and Modlin. If both of those hexes are controlled by German player at the end of the third turn, this is the instant German victory. If none of the side achieves instant victory, we are going to count victory points. And we have a list of those victory points right there in the notes as well. Only the German player counts victory points, and those are as follows. 1 victory point if a division size unit occupies any hex adjacent to Modlin, which is here. 2 victory points for every intact bridge controlled on the Narew River, right there. 1 victory point if at least 2 German steps of units are adjacent to Warsaw. 1 victory point if the 19th Corps plus 10th Panzer Division are in strategic movement in Prussia, historically to join the attack against the Narew River. 1 victory point if at least one Polish army is closed in the pocket. 1 victory point if the Polish player uses the option of using intervention corps. We will leave this for now. And 1 victory point per 10 Polish losses. In small scenarios, we will count overall losses based on daily reports. Again, more of this later. And -1 for each 10 German losses. So it makes sense for the Polish player to inflict some step losses for the German units. So every scenario begins in a step 1C. The first phase is a preparation phase, and like in many war games, step regarding preparation of a cheat pool, reinforcements, replacements is not used in the first turn of the scenario because those are all incorporated into the scenario setup. So we begin with the step 1C, Luftwaffe, and we need to reorganize our Luftwaffe units. Step A and step B are for now left behind because we have no units in the maintenance or refit box. And for the next step, we are going to reorganize Stuka units, Stuka division units. Let's go into the track sheet B. We have one unit from the Luftwaffe 4, which can be used only to bombard Warsaw, as we do not have the Southern Army Group. And we have 2 Stuka division units and 3 horizontal units. Let's divide one Stuka unit into 4 smaller units. 1, 2, 3, 4. Those units can be also reorganized into tactical air support units and issued to any army commands, but not in case of the September 1st turn, which is indicated in the sequence of play. Also, at least one horizontal unit have to perform raid on Warsaw. So, taking this into account, all S units go into the Luftwaffe holding box and will be used as a bombardment missions. The next step in the sequence of play is 1D, Polish Air Force. We do not anything here. We do not do anything here because we don't need to flip air bases, as on the September 1st they are all not that easy to bombard. We don't need to move air bases to new locations because all air bases are placed correctly. And step C, we do not use bomber brigade on the September 1st. Then we check weather. We roll 1d6, opening the time track, and the result is a 6. 6 is a sunny weather. Sunny weather means that air raids do not fail on double roll on turns 9 to 19. This means that in activations 5, 7 a.m. and 9 and 11 p.m., if you roll double on the air raid, the raid will fail due to navigational and weather effects, morning mists, and of course the sunset and the night time. Having this covered, we move straight into the action phase. So we perform activations using the time track for 5 a.m. to 11 p.m. On September 1st, we have a special sequence which considers special 445 bombardment activation and the special Weiss movement activation, which does not allow any combats for the German player. Also, only on the September 1st, if there is no Polish activation until 9 a.m., the Polish player will have a random activation, which is listed also right there. September 1st, Polish response. By the way, we will use one special optional rule, there are few of them, which regards remnants. More on that later. So let's begin with the first activation, which is Luftwaffe air raid. Let's open abilities, procedures quick reference, and open the procedure 2A, Luftwaffe first activation. We are going to place all air units on targets, then perform bombardments, then return F units to holding boxes, S units as they are only one-time units in the S boxes, and then advance time. And a special note on 4:45 of the September 1st, Warsaw needs to be bombarded and fully operational air bases are treated as air bases, which means that they are harder to hit. So let's open the targeting table, which is on player rate 5, and let's pick all of the targets. Track sheet B, let's move all of the units on the map. The thing is, here we need to place all of the units first before we start our air missions. So, as we need to bombard Warsaw, we will send our Luftwaffe 4 unit to bombard Warsaw. Some technical difficulty, sorry. So, Luftwaffe 4 will bombard Warsaw. We will add 2 horizontal bombers from the Luftwaffe 1 as well to bombard Warsaw. With the rest of the units, we will try to bombard Polish Pomorze Army HQ as well as Modlin Army HQ, which sits in the Modlin fortress. And with small units, we will try to bombard some units. So let's try to bombard Chojnice. Let's try to bombard unit on the Rytel line, one near Grudziądz, and one in Mława. Oh, this unit shouldn't be here, so let's return to the box. And when we open our Luftwaffe air raid table, we see what are needed target numbers to be rolled. So first, let's attack Warsaw. We have 3 units, so we make 3 attempts. Those units are F units, so we look at the F column. Units, Warsaw is currently in the air cover of Polish Pursuit Brigade, so we jump into F cover column, and as we see, Warsaw target, our number to hit is 4 plus on the primary die. We will treat in the physical copy of the game, we will have a colored die for this purpose. Here we will use the first result of the double roll as the primary die. If the combined result is 10 or more, we will damage the Radio Warsaw. So first rate 4-2, which is a success. As a result of a Warsaw air raid, we increase Warsaw destruction level. The Warsaw destruction level hits number 1, which indicates also the loss of Polish morale by 1. The next raid is also a success, so we damage Warsaw even further. and the third error rate is 5 plus 5, but we are at 5 a.m., so 4:45 is considered a 5 a.m. rate, which means that the third rate got lost by the weather or navigational problems and did not reach its target. Let's return those units to the holding box. They go back straight to the Luftwaffe 1 and 4 holding boxes, and they will be able to be used in the second Luftwaffe activation if it occurs during the turn. Then let's jump into HQ bombardments. So first, let's check the column. The column is F. There is airbase which is active, so it is FC column. So we hit only on 6. And the result is a 2. It is a miss. Let's return the unit to the holding box. The same situation in case of Pomorze Army, and it is also a miss. And now let's bombard some units. So we check which column it is. It is column S without any air cover, and the unit is a 5 plus. And again, double roll fails the rate no matter the result. So first result is a 6, which is a miss. Unit goes back to the S unit holding box, indicating that it will not be used again during this turn. Bombardment against 16th Polish Division. It is a miss. And 2 bombardments left against Chojnice, which is a hit, because if it's not a double and the result is a 6, and we add a shock to the bombarded unit. Let's return the unit to the box. And the last right next to Tuchola, 1-5, which is a miss. And with this last air raid, we are finished with the Luftwaffe activation. Taking a quick look into the procedure, we simply advance time. So this is done, and we jump straight into the special Weiss activation, which is a plan move activation. Let's go back to abilities. For the new players, to help manage things, there is also a plan activation flowchart in which we go step by step. What are we supposed to do? We will use the easier procedure quick reference. I will not go step by step now to explain all of those things that happen during this activation. In a nutshell, this is a plan activation in which the German player cannot perform any attacks. So we perform movement only. In the player 8 number 2, we have terrain effects chart. Of course, I have it all in my mind, so I will do it by memory. Let's begin from the north. Now, if we look at the units, we have 2 types of units, 2 basic type of ground combat units. The first type is a foot unit, which is indicated by this little number next to movement points allowance. This indicates how many hexes can be traveled by the unit during the whole turn, and this is tracked by using the DFR marker. So for example, if we travel 3 hexes, we increase the DFR marker. If we reach 3, we flip it to the no remaining DFR site, and this unit sits and cannot move anymore during the same turn. For example, cavalry units do not have this trait, which means they are not limited by by this mechanic. So they are considered a mobile unit. The same concerns motorized units and, of course, panzer units. All of those units have their own special abilities, which are also outlined in the abilities reference, in which we can see what are the special rules regarding all of those units. So with that covered, let's start moving. It doesn't really matter for now who moves first, so let's move from the north. Let's delete this. 42nd Regiment will go to the woods, paying 3 movement points, and I will use my keys to make this easier. We use 1 DFR. Next, 32nd Regiment, we go to hex 1203. We use 1 MP for the road, plus 1 MP for entering enemy zone of control. We traveled 1 hex, so we mark this by 1. Then right there, we have a 207 German division, which has 1 detached regiment, which is right there in hex 808. This does not affect attack, but will affect defense. Let's start moving. We move 1, 2, 3, 4. Clear terrain in this game costs 2 movement points, and the road costs 1 movement point. We do not use any fractions. We traveled 2 hexes, so we add DFR marker, which is now set into 2. Let's move this regiment. 1, 2, 3, and 4 movement points. 4, because the first time a German unit enters any Polish town which is not yet controlled, it is a +1 movement point. We traveled 3 hexes, so we add DFR of 3. And let's mark the control of the Polish town. So the next time any German unit enters the town, the +1 cost will not be paid. Now we've got the Eberhard brigade. Let's enter Sopot, mark it with DFR, and let's jump to the main body of the 4th German Army. So we cannot attack now, so let's perform movements only. To secure the German motorized corps, let's detach a regiment from the 20th Motorized Division. To do this, we will use a special marker. In the printed version of the game, we'll use markers like this, just like in the division that we saw before. But for the Vassal module, we'll use a smaller indicator that will not mess with our unit, and we will see what the unit actually is. Then let's jump into the regiment inventory, in which we do not have those units. So let me fix this quickly. OKH and okay, we've got that covered. So when we are detaching regiment from the division, from any division, we can do this in 2 ways. We can detach it in the adjacent hex without considering any MP costs, or we can detach it in the same hex and then move either the regiment or the detaching division with the normal fashion using movement points. So let's leave the regiment in place and move the 20th division into hex 813. Is gonna be 2 movement points for the clear and +1 for entering enemy zone of control. In case of bigger units, we also pay 1 movement point when leaving the enemy zone of control, but in this case, this unit has a weak ZOC, which is indicated by this little symbol, and it is also outlined in the terrain effect chart. So this is +1E, cost of entering, all units except armored have to end movement, and D, normal EZOC, is cost of entering and leaving EZOC. In any case, a unit has to stop because it enters enemy zone of control. Units that do not need to stop when entering EZOC are panzer units, which have indicated this ability by this little symbol with hex and arrows. Second motorized division, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because of enemy zone of control. Third Panzer Division. Let's enter Sempulno, paying additional movement cost, which is 3 combined, and then 3 and 4 for entering enemy zone of control. And what we can do now, we can detach a spearhead, which we will do because this hex is still a possible escape route for this regiment. To block this, we will use a spearhead. Spearhead is basically something of a detached units, basically reconnaissance units and armored cars and motorcycle units, and they create a larger field of influence of the unit. So now imagine that this unit basically stands on those two hexes, and this is their ZOC. So this unit, Polish regiment, cannot enter hex 916 anymore. The only escape route is going to be north or through the bridge, because here is the lake, which is impassable. 32nd Division. Considering that we use DFR, we could go around the woods and pay 2 DFR for this, or go straight to the woods and pay only 1 DFR. So it of course makes sense to go to the woods. We pay 3 MP, cannot move anymore, and we add 1 DFR. 3rd Division, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 DFR used. 50th Division, same thing. And the Netze Brigade will take Wyżysk down. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So first, let's mark it with DFR X, which indicates that this unit cannot move anymore during this turn. And the second thing, right there, we have a bridge, which is a large orange bridge. Basically, we have 5 colors of bridges, 5 basic colors of bridges, and yellow bridges, which we approached earlier in the way, are not checked for destruction unless they are manned by Polish units. So the Polish unit have to be adjacent to the bridge to try to destroy it. Larger bridges are preliminary prepared for destruction and are checked for destruction as soon as the German unit approaches the bridge, no matter if it's in Polish EZOC or manned by Polish unit. So let's check the destruction of this bridge. We need to roll a 4 plus to destroy this bridge on 1d6. And the roll is a 5, which means the bridge is destroyed. In the physical copy of the game, we will use colored wooden cubes to mark this on the map. Let's jump into the third army. First, 21st Division, 1, 2, 3. There is a yellow bridge which is manned by Polish unit. Let's try to destroy this bridge. 1 means the destruction roll is failed. This bridge remains intact and is secured by the German player. Then Unit 228, Division 228, 1, 2. We do not have sufficient DFR, sufficient movement points to enter hex 1915, so we end movement there and add 1 DFR. And we have a tank battalion, which can be used only by the units of the pointed corps. In case this is 21st Corps, which is indicated by this number. And let's move it into this hex, paying 2 movement, 2 MP cost. This unit will be able to strengthen the attacking infantry unit with +2 strength and can be used only once per turn. In case of a damage for the unit that uses the aid of the tank battalion, we check if the tank battalion is damaged. If the tank battalion is damaged the second time, it is permanently destroyed and removed from the game. Let's jump to the eastern sector and the main body of the Third Army, which attacks straight against Modlin. And we move 117 into Działdowo town, 2 +1 for the town, +1 for the Polish cavalry Izok. For the record, the Polish cavalry has an option to perform a cavalry raid, which is indicated by this symbol. We will not do this because it will not help anyone now. 61st Division, 1, 2, 3, next to Mława. 11th Division, 1, 2, to Mława. And as historically, the Kampf Panzer Division will try to help to attack Mława city and break the line and take the vital crossroads. 12th Division, we have a green bridge right there. Green bridges are special case of bridges which turn into orange bridges when the border battle episode of the campaign is over. Right now, green bridges cannot be destroyed. So we move 1, 2. We do not use cavalry ride. And the first division will move 1, 2, 3. 2 hexes are traveled. The first cavalry brigade, Prussian cavalry brigade, do not have really anything sufficient to do, so it will stay in its hex. The rest of Third Army units, 3 garrison units, cannot move until the restrictions are lifted. With this, we are done with the 5 AM activation. Let's see the abilities, the procedure. We move cheat 4, which means that the cheat travels 4 columns on the time track to the right, which will generate conflicting orders, and we advance time to 7 AM.